Hey guys, welcome back to SudokuManiacs. So today we have one more puzzle from the upcoming Sudoku Grand Prix that's going to be held at the WPF website. I know this week we are going to focus on all the puzzles that are coming up in the upcoming championship. And believe me, every time I solve and create a video on one of the puzzles that are there in the GP, I am falling more and more in love with the competition. There are some beautiful and very interesting variants here. And you will see this today's puzzle also is no less. Now normally in an information booklet, the example puzzles are of very easy nature. But believe me when I say this specific puzzle today that we are going to see is so interesting and tricky that I'm dreading as well as looking forward to the actual puzzle in the competition. So today the puzzle is a double sandwich Sudoku. The rules of this Sudoku are the classic rules apply, that is, no digit can repeat in a row, column, or a 3 by 3 box. Additionally, the clues that are given outside indicate the sum of the digits that may fall between the digits 1, 5, and 9. So basically, in layman's terms, the digits 1, 5, and 9 will form the bread slices of a two-layered sandwich, and the sum of the digits are nothing but the filling of those sandwiches. I'm sorry, I couldn't come up with a better explanation for that. Right? But hope you can visualize what I mean. So coming to the puzzle, the first thing that I notice is since the digits 1, 5 and 9 are the boundaries of the sandwich per se, or the bread slices as you might call them, they can never be a part of any sum. So this helps us narrow down the possibilities for higher sums. For example, when I see that there is a sum of 12 there, right? Now assuming if it is a sum of only two digits, what it means is I cannot have a 3 or a 9, neither can I have a 5 and a 7. So the only possibilities in such cases will be a 4 and 8. How do we start on this? Well, the basic thing is we know the rule of 45, that is every row or column will have unique 1 to 9 digits whose sum will always be 45, correct? Of which 1, 5 and 9 are not part of the sums. So the 1, 5 and 9 add up to 15. So basically when we take out these three digits, the other digits will add up to 30. And then we have to see how we can utilize this concept of sum 30 in this. So let's begin. Now the first thing I noticed, since the givens are only 1 and 9 in the center, this would be the easiest place for us to start. Now 9. Now obviously I can't have a single digit sum of 9 because 9 is part of the boundary wall and not the sum. So obviously I would require a minimum of 2 digits and maximum of 3 because I can have 2, 3 and 4. Correct? Now, but when I look at these outside 9s, they add up to 18. And the 1, 5 and 9 give me a 15. So the total sum that I have available is 33. Which basically means I'm still left with a sum of 12 outside the so-called boundary of the sandwich. Now again, I can't have both, what do you say, uh, the 5 and 9 to the right of this one. The reason being, I would require a minimum of 2 to give me a 9, which places a 5, 9 here. Correct? But then, if I have this again acting as the second 9, I can't place the other 9 outside the box. So I know for sure this will have to be a 5 and a 9. Correct? And we saw that these 7 cells will add up to 33, which means this has to be a 4 and an 8. Correct? Similarly for this 9, this boundary will be a 1, 5 and this would be a 1, 5. Which again 9 plus 9 is 18 and 15 33, which gives me a 4 8 here. Good so far? Now, when I look at these tens, I have a 1 5. Again, I would require a 2-digit sum of tens. The reason is I can't have a 3-digit sum because these two add up to 20 plus 15, correct? 159 add up to 15. That gives me 35. So remaining is 10. So to have a sum of 10, I do require 2 digits. Hence, this becomes my 159. This becomes my 159. So if this is a 4, I would require a 6, or if this is an 8, I would require a 2 to get me a sum of 10. And similarly, this also would add up to 10. And again, I have these 10s with the 9. So this also would be a 1 5. This would be a 1 5. Good so far? Now, these are the two walls of the boundary, and I have a sum of 8. I cannot have a 1 and a 7 because the 1 is part of the boundary. I cannot have a 3 and a 5. So the only option I have is a 2 and a 6. Right? So there's a lot of pencil mark that will go into this puzzle before we start. Next, similarly with this one, this will be a 5 9. This will be a 5 and a 9. And for these 10s, with this 5, this would be a 159, and this would be a 159. So again, with this sum to be 10, for a 4 I would require a 6, and for an 8 I would require a 2. Alright? Now, where do we go from here? I know for sure, now looking at this 4 8 and this 4 8, 4 8 has to be in the central cells. Right? But now, if this is a 5, this would be a 9. This would become a 1 and this would be a 5. Or if this is a 9, this would be a 5, this would become a 1, this would become a 5. So in box 4 and 6, the 5 is locked in row 4 and row 6. Which basically means in box 5, the 5 would have to be in the central row. But I see that I have a pair of 5 9, so this cannot be a 5. Again, I have a pair of 1 5 here, so this cannot be a 5. So I get my first digit 5 here. Correct? Now with this 4 8, I require a sum of 10, the second 10, right? So this would be a 2 6. And with this 4 8, this would be a 2 6, which gives me a 3 7 here. Right? Now again, I have two boundary walls, and I require the first sum of 12. So this also would be a 4 8. And for 13, this would add up to 25 plus 15 of the boundary walls, 40. So that means outside the sandwich, I require a total sum of 5. Now, I cannot have a single digit 5 because 5 is part of the sandwich. So obviously this 2 have 2 digits have to be adding up to 5. It can be 1 4 or 2 3, but it cannot be a 4. The reason being the 4 is locked here. So this has to be 2 3. So this would be a 7 and an 8. The reason is, we remember how from these two, 20 plus 15 of the boundary walls, 35, and we needed 10 more to complete it. Which basically means this again becomes my 159 because I need to get a 13 here. The only digits are 6 and 7. But the 7 locked here, I get a 7 here and 6 here. So again, this is a 10, this is a 10, 20 plus 35, so this has to be a 3. So now, what would be the sum of this 10 between the 1 and the 5 9? I can't have a 3 7, I can't have a 6 4. So the only option is a 2 and an 8, which makes this is a 4, this is an 8. So this becomes a 2 and this becomes a 6. So for the 9, if I have a 6 here, this has to be a 3, this has to be a 7. So I have to have a 3, 6 here, which makes this a 2, 8 and a 4. And this becomes a 6, 4, 8. Alright, some progress, which basically means this is a 3, 7 to complete the column, and this would be a 4, 6. Now comes the tricky part. We have a 0 here. Now here we see that 1, 5, 9 forms a triplet in this, so this cannot be a 1, 5 and 9. Which basically means for the first bit of the sandwich, 2 out of the 1, 5 and 9 will be together. And then after that, either 2 or 3 digits will form the sum of 9. So the two digits which are available, the two places rather where 1, 5 and 9 can come beside each other is only these two places. So let me pencil mark this 1, 5, 9. So we have taken care of this 0. Now between this and the next, I can't have a 1, 5, 9 here. The reason is I cannot have a sum of 9 here. So obviously the 1, 5, 9 has to be here, because the sum of 3 digits have to be 9. So that can only be 2, 4, 3. So even this has been taken care of. Alright. Now this 10, I cannot have a 4 and a 6 because the 4 is logged into 1. I can't have a 2 and an 8. So that has to be a 7 and a 3, which makes this 8 and a 2 with a 3. So this again becomes a 3, 7 for me. And the final placement of 2, 6. And this has to be a 6 and a 4. The reason is the 6 is locked in box 9 for column 9. Sorry, row 9 I mean. Alright. And this would be 159, 179, 179. So 3, 3 by classic rule, this has to be a 3. Right? And we got the first 9 here. The second 9 has to be a 2 and a 7. So this again becomes a 1, 9. So the missing digits here are 4, 7. This has to be a 6, 4 and a 7. Now, 5 plus 8 is 23, plus the 15 of the boundaries is 38. So I require a 7 outside the sandwich, as we may call it. So single 7 is not possible. So it has to be a sum of either 2 or 3 digits. But 3 would mean it has to be 2 and a 1. And 1 can never be outside the sandwich or inside the sandwich for that matter. It's part of the boundary law. So this has to be a 3 to make this 7, and I have a 159 here. So if this is a 3, because then this becomes a 7 and a 3, and this gives me an 8 for the sum of 15. Right? So with this 3, this becomes a 6, this becomes a 3, this becomes a 2, this becomes a 6. And with this 4, this is an 8 and a 4. Right? Now, for the sum of this 5, I require, it cannot never be 1, 4, so it has to be 2, 3. So 2 has to be here or here. But if it is a 2, I cannot have a boundary wall here. So this has to be my 2. This becomes a boundary wall, and 159 here. That means this is my 7 and an 8. This becomes my 7 and 19. So if this is a 7, this is a 3, this becomes a 7. Alright, and what would this would be a 2. With this 6, this is a 2, this becomes a 6. So this becomes a 7, this becomes a 2. 1, 5, 9, 4, 6. Also, this is a 4, and this becomes a 6. Okay, this is a 4, this is a 7. So I have a 4 here, and this again becomes a 159. This becomes an 8, and this becomes my 159. Now you see we have completed all the other digits except the 1, 5, and 9. Now comes another tricky part. How do we identify where each of these digits will go? Now when I look at column 8, this is a 1, 9, so 5 has to be logged in these two, so this cannot be a 5, correct? And this is a 5, 9, so the 1 of column 7 is logged in row 1 and 2, so this becomes a 5, 9. Alright, now how do we eliminate? You remember previously we had done a video on how to identify when X win, right? So let me use this 5, 9 as a pivot, and the ends, are 1 and marked in green, correct? If this is a 5, this would be a 1. If this is a 9, this would be a 1. And the common cell for both these is this. So irrespective of which of 5 and 9 comes in row 3 column 9, the 1 would be in either row 3 column 6 or row 9 column 9. In both scenarios, 1 can never be in row 9 column 6. Alright? So what we can do is, we can simply eliminate the 1. This becomes a 5. This becomes a 9. This becomes my 1. So the 9 is 1, 5. This becomes a 9. This becomes a 5. This becomes a 1. So I have a 1, 9 here. So this is a 5. So this becomes my 5. 1, 9, 9. 1 is off here. So this 9 has to be here. So this is a 5. Sorry. 1, 5, 9, 1, 1, 5. Okay. And I think we are nearly there. This is a 9. This becomes a 1. 1 is a, this becomes a 5. And yes, there we did it. Such a beautiful puzzle, I tell you. The way, I mean, the initial 15 to, I would say 15 to 20% of the solving time, we were just marking out pencil marks and all. Awesome, awesome puzzle. If you wish to try this puzzle out online, I am adding a link to my online interface. You can just click on it, go and solve online if you just want to try it out, And also the link to the World Puzzle Federation Sudoku Grand Prix website is also added to the description. So once again, I will reiterate, if you have not registered at the WPF website, do so right now, because if you don't attempt this, you're really going to miss out on some beautiful, beautiful puzzles. Imagine if the information booklet puzzle was of this high quality. You can just imagine what the actual puzzle is going to be. So I hope you have a good time with the Grand Prix and you enjoyed this puzzle. If you did, like and share it. Leave a comment and a feedback for us on what you would like to see next. Hopefully before the GP starts on Saturday, we'll try to create one more video on one of the puzzles in the competition. So till that time, happy solving.